Hi, everyone. I'm Ben Mercer, co-founder of Personify XP. Absolutely loving and looking forward to today's session today with Dietmar Reach. We're here to talk around the magic triangle of digitalization. Dietmar is the CEO and co-founder at Pimcore. And the session today for kind of who ate all the cookies is, undoubtedly digitalization has become a must for enterprises. And with that comes obviously the challenges, but also the great opportunities that kind of technology kind of bring to that fore. Dietmar runs Pimcore. It's an award-winning open source software provider of data management and experience management solutions. Pimcore has a record of working with the biggest industry players, including Burger King, Audi, Peugeot, and IKEA. And Pimcore does a really great job at building highly contextual digital experiences and innovating on them. And in kind of today's session, we're going to be talking around the issues of the challenges some companies, while developing their kind of digital experiences and becoming a much more mature organization, and what is the impact of digitalization on users' behavior, and how can companies start to become well prepared for this digitalization, but also kind of in the future as well. So welcome, Dietmar. It's great to have you on.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Thanks for your kind words and happy to be here.
Awesome. Love it. Well, we're going to get straight into it. I absolutely love the content and the stuff that you guys push out. So kind of diving in, I guess, to the triangle of digitalization. Obviously, we've seen kind of during COVID, a lot of brands having to make this shift, and those roadmaps that were kind of 5 years out are getting accelerated down to months rather than kind of years. I guess challenges that you see with people, your brands you speak to, but also your customer base in terms of why is becoming more digitally savvy enterprises?
Yeah. So what we see actually, we as a software company work for different industries and different, a very broad aspect, from retail organizations to manufacturing and so on. And we constantly face the challenge of digitalization. So for us, the challenge actually is about how you have to change, and that basically companies have to change because also the processes change, the channels change, and also the data change. So everything surrounding a company actually changes, technology and everything, gets bigger, gets more diverse. And this is now the result that companies have to change to really talk to the right guys.
I completely agree with that. And I think, I was at a conference recently, and there was a big kind of chat around this kind of cultural shift in organizations. And, I think we saw it a lot with kind of Amazon in terms of, how they structure their teams around kind of product areas like recommendations or, my account reviews, all that kind of stuff. How can organizations kind of, especially when, they're working with your awesome software, start to consider teams aligned to really being kind of digital first organizations? What are the kind of the trends you see in the companies you work with?
Basically, change has to start at the top. That's the most important thing, and actually that's what we see and what we face, that this is not yet, at least not in the German speaking market, or primarily in the Europe, this is not the case yet. So people are not understanding that they have to change the organization, change how to talk to people, change in terms of the employees, and also change in all divisions of a company. So, the topic of innovation, for example, is, a huge thing that companies have to really accept that there is a movement going on. And this movement has results within companies and with all of departments within companies, and people have to, they have to care about the hard things basically in life. And that's
absolutely. And I think a lot of organizations having to manage that process upwards as opposed to downwards, which is obviously a lot more of a struggle than if it kind of comes at board level. I guess what I'd love to learn more about is the topic today is really around the magic triangle of digitalization. I'd love to learn more. What is it?
Basically, it's something that actually we made up. Basically, we made up this term actually. And why did we make it up? Or what is the crucial thing about this magic triangle? So actually, if you imagine a triangle, then you have three parts of the whole game. One is the data game, one is the channel game, and then also the processes and applications. So let's, when we focus on the first topic, then it's data. Data is, everything around us is data. You are working in an analytics company, so you exactly know what data is all about. So you have to really have awesome data at your fingertips to create any digital experience on any channel. So the second part is basically we are living in a multi-channel environment. So there are so many different channels that we have to care about. These are digital channels. These are still analog channels like the point of sales and so on. So everything has to come together. And also, and this is the third point, is the processes and the applications, they have to fit together. So the magic triangle is a combination of data and channels and also processes and applications. And all of those three things have to really work together to care about really, I would say, the customer experience. And this is basically the centerpiece of this triangle is the customer experience, because it's finally, we are living in the customer-centric world. Everything is, for each conversion, for everything what we have to do, we have to care about the consumer and the customer. And therefore, this is the centerpiece of this magic triangle, and around is data and channels and applications.
So I mean, that sounds awesome. I love to kind of, pick into each of those bits as we kind of go through this conversation as well. And I think given the series that we're kind of running has been a lot about cookies and the kind of the death of the third party cookie. In your opinion, in your experience, how have businesses you work with been kind of impacted by the changes in like privacy legislation, obviously, with GDPR, in 2018, but also, with changes in, Safari and kind of Google's change. How have you seen businesses being impacted by this?
This is a huge topic, especially in terms of digital marketing. And also in terms of topics such as personalization, recommendation, and so on. So everything, this whole topic of relied on technologies such as cookies and sessions and all of these things, basically, at least in the past. So in a customer-centric world, it's utterly, or it's very important to care about the customer. And there actually you should know your customer and have to provide the right experience for the customer. And within this privacy topic and these changes, I think a lot of people, especially in Europe and also in California with their laws, basically have they have a problem, because identifying consumers and providing a personalized customer experience increases on the other side the number of conversions and the success of a website or the success of a shop. And therefore, we see an impact there that our customers have a big question mark. How should we proceed best in terms of those topics if we are not really allowed anymore? And you have seen also the impact on the big players such as Facebook and how much they have to pay basically in terms of GDPR. So this is, I would say, a big topic in Europe. And I fear that we get a little bit lost compared to the US, because the future will be personalized. So that's the way how it will be. And therefore, this data is very important, for topics such as personalization, recommendations, but also online marketing, Facebook and social media marketing, and connecting all of those experiences cross-channel. And this can only be done, or has been done for the last decade, with cookies and sessions and all of these things. And so this is a hard way, I would say.
No, and I agree. And I think brands have been swamped with data for too long, right? And it's always been about, what data we use. And actually, I think the changes in kind of cookie legislation are actually giving brands the opportunity to actually, question what is good data to them. And I think, it's a really important pillar as part of the kind of triangle that you're kind of talking around is, what is good data to a brand, and kind of, how should they be using this data in their day-to-day business to, to really be set up for success. But what are your kind of thoughts on that?
So basically, what we experience in, when we're talking to our customers, is that, siloed data. I call it siloed data. So if we have a big company, basically with a lot of different departments, product management, sales, I don't know, marketing and so on, then all their data is in private repositories, I would say, siloed. And for really creating awesome customer experience, you need a consistent data across all those channels. So that's what I meant before when I'm talking about change management. So you have to make the organization ready. And one of the key criteria is, of course, consistent data from multiple domains. So when we're talking about data, then we talk about product data, for example. We are talking about customer data. We are talking about transactional data. We are talking about digital assets and user-generated content. All of those pieces have to fit together in a certain way to get out your digital experiences. And there you have a lot of different types. You have analytical data that has to have or has an enormous impact on that topics. So, and all the data is nowadays, or I would say not all the data, but a lot of data is in current days, it's real time. It's millions of data. It's the big data topic, basically. And it's all is related to each other in a certain way. So also data handling is really becoming a big topic and a major challenge for big companies. How do they bring together their master data and work with that data in an efficient way without, in a de-siloed organization, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've definitely seen the shift when organizations talk about data, because typically it'd always be cached, right? They make decisions based on, previous data or historic data, whereas now, exactly like you're saying, this move towards using data in real time to be able to drive better decisions, as you well know, really just drives that kind of incremental gain, and those results, those brands and businesses you work with absolutely crave for. And I think kind of going on to, I guess, the next side of the triangle, I guess, you were kind of talking a lot about processes, right? And kind of the way in which teams are structured within organizations to kind of make success of it. And I think there's obviously always the challenge between, fast delivery that marketing want versus the people that own the systems who are trying to plan for the future versus, what can be delivered now. And I guess, how can organizations, manage these processes to really be set up for success?
So I would answer that in the following way. It's the topic of change, and also bringing that change to processes and to company workflows, and by leading them really to a digital first initiative. So it reflects to everything. So as soon as we say, hey, we have to change there because we have to get data together, then you're talking about, the so-called how do people behave? Do they want to share that information? Do they want to work together actually? And that's what we see, that organizations are often not yet have the possibility or have the chance basically of working together across all those borders and all those silos.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think definitely moving away from that siloed approach is going to be super important for those organizations to really be set up for success, to make sure, because obviously within the consumer journey, there's a lot of different parts from it, from discovery to evaluation to purchase, and organizations need to be focused, especially from a retail perspective, on making sure they're enhancing that customer experience using the real-time data that we're kind of talking around.
Exactly. And especially, I have to quickly say, we are living now that the omni-channel world is now the present. So we are living in that world, and you have to provide your message on any channel out there, basically. So if this is shop, e-commerce, social media, point of service, even print, everything has to be orchestrated. And orchestration means that your team that is really doing the orchestration has to really provide the right information at the right time in a good quality to each of the target groups within the time, and this is only possible if you break down borders within the company and break down the silos.
Absolutely. And And what is your opinion on where channels will be in the future? I think a lot of kind of what we're hearing now, especially in this kind of Mac API first world, is that the channel of the future won't necessarily always be the .com domain. So it then becomes down to how can I deliver the most relevant experience across all of those channels? Do you see the channels of the future changing? Do you see there being a bigger volume? I mean, what is your opinion on, how brands can, build for the future in this kind of newer world?
So for us, I would stress the term, it's the commerce anarchy. You need to provide data to a lot of different channels. So for example, in terms of commerce, within our software product, we have 2,000 different output channels to talk to different countries, to talk to different marketplaces, to different marketing channels, to the world, actually. So there are so many different places where you have to provide your message, and this will be a constant change. Of course, there are the big players such as Amazon, for example, and the big channels such as Facebook and so on. But we are also talking in a local environment. So you have so many niche platforms and channels out there that you also have to provide the right information at the right time. So we are talking really about the channel anarchy, and getting out your message means now you have to really be able to deliver the right information at the right time to the right audience using a certain channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Your consumers are kind of talking about you everywhere. So you definitely need to make sure you're kind of having those communications. I guess we're coming to kind of an end of this particular session, and it's been an absolute pleasure to kind of hear around the magic triangle and clearly the amazing things you guys are doing at Pimcore. Have you got kind of one takeaway for the audience before we kind of wrap up?
Change management has to begin from the top and provide a clear agenda for your digital transformation initiative. And then be aware that you also have to change. So that's what I would say.
Change. Love it.
Yeah,
cool.
That's the problem. Yeah. And people are not willing to change very often. We are humans.
We're all set in our ways, right?
Yeah,
we're all set in our ways.
Yes, it is.
Cool. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today, Dietmar.
Thanks, me too.
Please do reach out to Dietmar via email or via LinkedIn after this. Pimcore, an award-winning open source software provider of data management and experience management solutions. They partner with some of the world's largest brands like Burger King, Audi, Peugeot, and IKEA. And they really help deliver highly converting, consistent, contextual digital experiences and innovate on them. Thank you so much, Dietmar. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on this particular session. And please, everyone, tune into other sessions of Who Ate All the Cookies. Thanks for your time.
Thanks. Bye-bye.